Hello everybody and welcome to 2026, or should that be 2020 ships? No, it shouldn't be. In this video we are looking at something a little bit different. It's the build of a ship, the new Bedford Whaler by Academy to be precise, and it is very rare for me to build a ship model, and is in fact I believe the first one I've ever shown on the channel. There is already an unboxing that I've released of this kit, so if you want to see my first impressions and what you're likely to get if you buy this, then check that out first. This video follows a little bit of research, a little bit of reading about the subject matter, just so that I didn't sound like a complete idiot when building. So there's that to look forward to, because I will probably still sound like an idiot in certain places. Anyway, without further rambling, let's get on and look at the build of this kit. Despite my best efforts, it has been a little bit tricky to actually find out when this kit was tooled. Scalemates suggest it was sometime in the 1990s. Yeah, it feels about right, so that's what I've put. I counted 57 parts, although the instructions don't mention one of them. There is one decal scheme. There are no decals, so that's a bit irrelevant, but there's one that it puts in the instructions, and a recommended price of about £9 or £10, although I picked this up in a sale for just £5.39. For the most part, I am following the order of the instructions. I'm not veering too far from that. We have two halves of the hull and the main deck that gets sandwiched between the two halves. The different coloured plastic is present all over this kit. There's one black sprue, one brown, and a couple of white sprues. Obviously, I will be painting it afterwards anyway, but it does make things a little bit easier to find if you know you're looking for a brown sprue bit. Straight from the off, I could feel that this was going to be a kit that put up a little bit more resistance. As you see here, I was struggling a little bit to get it to line up, and I had to clamp it and wrap it in elastic bands to try and get it to hold. I never did get the stern actually neat and tidy. It's a little bit wonky and it cracked when I put another part on it, and I just didn't bother fixing it. And that is kind of the story of the assembly here. It's fine, but it's not going to fall together. You will need to force it in some places. Now, there is a name badge for the Charles W. Morgan, which this is not a kit of, and it became apparent very quickly that I was going to have to build the stand, because otherwise there is no way of easily putting this kit down. You paint a bit and then it just rolls over onto its side. So I thought I'd make the stand, and whilst the instructions only mention the leg side of the stand, you just stick them to the hull, I thought it would be much better to display it with the name badge as well, even though we're accepting it's not actually the Charles W. Morgan. But it just means when you're building a ship, you actually have somewhere to put it without it falling over. Vallejo pale sand was thinned with some acrylic thinner, shoved in the airbrush and sprayed over the entire main deck. The painting instructions are minimal, by which I mean there's just an arrow that says a colour, that is it. And so I've used a lot of pictures of the real Charles W. Morgan as well as other models of the actual ship rather than this kit to try and piece together what I feel is appropriate. And the hull was sprayed in this Vallejo black primer. I think this was actually the first kit that I used this primer on, if I recall correctly. If not, certainly one of the first. It goes straight into the airbrush and sprays on beautifully, and yes, I am aware that I will be painting some white over this, but hey, we'll deal with that later. There is this aqua colour from Revell, which I don't think you've ever seen me use before on this channel, have you? But I do have a few pots lying around, and in this case it's the mud brown, which was thinned and applied as a wash all over the deck, just to try and add a bit of depth rather than just have a very pale sand colour. We also have some leather brown from Vallejo, which was brush painted on various equipment, shall we say, so hatches, and there's some stairways. I did actually decide to go over this with another colour afterwards, again just basing it on pictures and what feels right. I'm by no means an expert on painting ships, which is one of the reasons why I bought this actually. I wanted something a little bit different to do, but this certainly felt about right, and given that there is going to be 3 large masts blocking most of the view of the deck, I don't think it mattered too much. Vallejo insignia white is then used for the other colour of the hull, as the instructions suggest it is white black, white black. The actual Charles Morgan does not have this, but on studying photos it also has a hull that is a slightly different shape. So the layout is clearly very, very different. I'm not entirely sure why they ever thought this was going to look like the Charles Morgan, but hey ho, whatever. The white over the black may seem like an odd choice, but I don't want it to be bright white. I didn't want to prime it in white and then pick out the black. I wanted it to be a little bit subdued. We got this British Tanks Light Stone. This is from a paint set from Life Colour. It's for tanks in the North African campaign. This felt like a nice colour to use for some of the more decorated, painted areas on the inside, including just the inside of the hull. I don't know what you call these panels, but I painted that. And there was also one of these entranceways that I painted. You can see that I've added the ship's wheel, which has been picked out in gold, and then this little structure goes over the top, which has also been painted in the Life Colour Stone. This is the part which then slightly cracked the hull, which had never really joined properly anyway, and I tried to fix it and couldn't. We then have this boat deck, which is for a couple of either lifeboats or whaling boats, use as applicable, and I've also picked out some of the detail and taken the tape off. Looks quite nice. We have some Vallejo model Air copper, which I had tested on another project first, because of course the copper hull is quite important to get right on a copper hulled ship, and so I tested it over a couple of different primers, and I felt that the best result was over the black primer that I'd used for the rest of the hull. I must say that I like this colour so much, this effect so much, that I will probably go out and buy another kit that needs a copper bottomed hull. So it was very, very nice, very, very shiny, lovely paint to use. The masts were next, and they've been primed in white, but I've then sanded things down so it doesn't really look like it. The main mast has a flag moulded onto it. Looks a little bit silly, but hey-ho, never mind. I couldn't be bothered to remove it. It's only the main mast, and these slide nicely into their slots. The slots can only accommodate the masts in the correct order, because the holes are in different places. I then decided I didn't actually want white masts, and I've got the leather brown out again, the Vallejo model colour leather brown, and I'm painting sections of it in brown, so we have a mix of white and a mix of brown. Again, this is just what I think makes it look a little bit more interesting. At this point, I had accepted that it is too different from the Charles Morgan for me to really care too much. A few days later, I popped to the shop to buy this Army Painter Effects paint. I have never used an Army Painter paint, that's really hard to say, before, and I've never done a proper copper bottom before, so this was all new for me. I'm going to call it again heavy dry brushing. So I went over the hull pretty much in its entirety with this effect, and then rubbed some of it off, or I added a little bit more. It took quite a while, but the result, which doesn't quite get picked up as much as I'd like it to in the footage, is that you've got a copper bottom that has started to oxidise rather than bright shiny copper. I didn't want it too heavy, nor did I want it too subtle. I don't know, let me know what you think of the result, but I absolutely love it. And so at this point, the rest of the ship kind of just falls together, starting with the masts and the bowsprit actually being glued in. The bowsprit I chose to keep white rather than add the brown onto that, just stylistically, that's what felt right. We have the davits for the boats. These needed to be tidied up because they go over both white and black sections. A little bit inconvenient, if I'm honest. I could have potentially glued them in first, but then it's awkward to mask them because of the shape. Story of this kit is just a lot of tidying up a lot of patches that need doing, but they all fit fine. We have 2 boats on the starboard side, 3 boats on the port side. These just glue in nicely. In hindsight, I probably should have put a little bit of rigging along to make it look like they're actually, fastened to it properly, but I didn't bother. And then we're on to the sails. The sails were primed in white. They are just one piece for each of the 3 masts. And then I thinned down some cream, mixed it with just a little bit of brown here and there. I had a wet mix. You can just keep stirring it and it changes the colour slightly, and just thin washed all over the sails. I thought that this was a better colour than white, but it wasn't too uniform. Again, not something which I've done. I've built ships in the past, but I've never put in this much effort, so it's all a learning curve for me. I'm considering this the first ship I've built since being good at modelling, relatively. I had originally hoped to airbrush a finish, but it was just too thin and awkward and didn't really work, so even though brush painting can leave streaks and things, by having it as such a thin paint, it mostly just ran down the sail lines, and again, I think the result is perfectly acceptable. On to the rat lines, and these are probably the worst bit of the kit. They're too thick. Now, doing rat lines as rigging is an absolute pain in the backside, but having them as thick and two-dimensional, by two-dimensional I mean they've got basically a right angle on them, they just don't look particularly believable. It does somewhat spoil the illusion. The instructions don't give you that much information, but you have to cut a bit off the top depending on whether they are, which mast they're on. They're supposed to be 2 lines. I couldn't find 2 lines on them. You either chop the top line or the bottom line, but you can barely see them, especially when I've painted them black. It was incredibly fiddly, and I'm very grateful that I have a selection of tweezers and that I didn't end up throwing the ship across the room out of frustration. The same is true of the sails. The masts, the spars and sails that go onto the mast are supposed to line up with certain notches, but only one mast actually had the notch to line the sails up with. Either I accidentally sanded them off, which I don't think is the case, or it just wasn't moulded very well. So a lot of guesswork, incredibly fiddly. I would suggest taking a deep breath and having a cup of tea before you attack this part of the ship. But they were on. And then it's probably the least enjoyable experience of 2025 coming up, which is the rigging. Now, this is the rigging diagram, which I'm sure you'll agree is pretty darn useless. It's just, here is some rigging. Well, the rigging of choice is this AK Interactive fine rigging wire, ideal for about 1/350th scale. It looks about right. You do get thread with the kit, but I wasn't bothering with that. I wanted this elasticy stuff, makes it a little bit easier. Working one strip of ship at a time, starting from the top, letting it dry, then extending it, gluing it with super glue to the bottom. I spent hours on this, didn't film that much of it because it's incredibly awkward and I kept on hitting the camera or just not getting it in shot. I know I like biplanes, I know I like old aircraft that have rigging, but it's something that I have to just accept and do. Rigging a ship? No, I'm alright, thanks. Not for me. I took quite a few shortcuts. The rigging is not correct, it is not complete, and that is partly because there's the wrong number of arms? Is it arms? Yards? There's the wrong number of sails on the foremast. There should only be 3, and there's 4. So I've got rigging diagrams from the Revell Charles Morgan on my screen whilst I'm trying to line this up. I've got pictures of actual sailing ships as well with their rigging diagrams in places, and it just doesn't line up and it just doesn't work. It is not possible to rig this properly, and that incredibly useless rigging diagram provides no help whatsoever. Now, at this sort of scale, you need to have some rigging because it would look ridiculous without it, and of course you need to support these sails, but this isn't accurate. I don't intend it to be, and I just don't care enough. So, yep. You can have a go at me if you like for taking shortcuts, but at this point, I was just glad to see the ship finally complete. When I bought this kit, I had hoped that I could throw it together in a weekend, and that was far from the truth. It took, I think, about 3 weeks from start to finish to actually get it done, but a lot of that time was, shall we call it, recuperation time, such as the rigging. I would do an hour, and then I'd leave it for a day, then I'd do another hour, then I'd leave it for a day, then I'd contemplate life choices for a couple of days, and then go back to it, etc., etc. It's quite fiddly, even though it's relatively only a few parts. It's a low part count. This was an excellent test bed for a lot of techniques that I either steer away from or I just haven't done before. Doing deck panelling involved washes, and I didn't show it, but I did some dry brushing over the top of that as well. The same with all of the exterior woodwork. The black I dry brushed in a dark grey, and the white I dry brushed in a light grey, just to try and get a little bit more texture, and I think the end result is pretty good. In particular, I like the copper effect, as I mentioned. I like the level of corrosion that I've gone for it. Oh, and I didn't show it, but I did paint the rudder red, as you can see here, just mixing a red and some red brown. And as something a little bit different to display, yes, I'm okay with this kit. The problems really start when you compare it with a real ship. It's it's very crude, very basic. The fit at the stern does bug me somewhat. The rigging diagram is of course garbage. There's no real fastening that you can do with the rigging. It often just has to be stuck to the nearest approximate area. Your sort of component, let's glue it to a bit of the hull. So you can't get, or at least not without significant improvement, you can't get a particularly accurate model of a sailing ship, but you definitely get the impression of a sailing ship. The illusion is just somewhat spoiled if you stare at the rigging too long and notice that it's kind of bending around the solid sails rather than connecting to where they would on a real ship. For the little over £5 that I paid for this, I definitely feel like I got my money's worth. I have definitely spent more money on kits that have considerably fewer parts, so that's quite good. And as a test bed for new techniques or improving techniques such as the dry brushing and the copper and all of that stuff and the sails and whatever, yes, I would say that this is a kit that I can recommend. If you want a highly detailed model of the Charles Morgan, then this is definitely not it. If you want a detailed model of a sailing ship, this isn't it. I couldn't recommend it. So very much treat this kit with a pinch of your seasoning of choice if you do decide to buy it. But of course, let me know if you have already made it and what you think of it. Also, please compliment my copper bottom. That's not a phrase I use regularly, but I'm very happy with it, and hopefully you will be too. If you are interested in more ship-based content, let me know. I will confirm that I have only 3 ships in my stash of my 60-odd kits. One of them is a sailing ship, and 2 are Second World War era. If you want to see more ships, then I will be happy to keep an eye out for them. Can't make any promises, but this hasn't put me off ships forever. It has, however, made me appreciate rigging a Tiger Moth as opposed to an entire bleeding bark. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're not a subscriber but you keep watching my videos, then please just hit the subscribe button because it makes numbers go up and that makes me happy. You can even become a channel member like the people appearing on screen. These people get cheeky spoilers, including pictures of this kit as it was being constructed and kept up to date with the general existence of a ship on my workbench, which is strange in itself. If you want to join them, then details should be below. If not, doesn't matter. Just thank you for watching, and on that note I am off to go and build some more things that have wings rather than sails. Whilst it has been very nice to dabble in something a little different for a while, I am still a plane boy at heart, and planes, well, I've got plenty of them in the stash, so hopefully I will see you in a future video where one or more of those planes will feature. Until then, goodbye.